It's been a tough year, I think it's fair to say. It's a year at the day since he actually took the job on. And there with him through thick and thin, at every press conference, through the highs and lows, mainly lows, let's be honest, although things are picking up. Jamie Jackson, the Guardian's man in Manchester. Hi, Jamie.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. There probably were times, Jamie, when you felt that he wouldn't make this first anniversary.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's admitted himself that he wasn't too sure, particularly after the defeat to Spurs in the Europa League final. And yeah, I mean, you two gentlemen have kindly had me on over the years through basically all the post-Ferguson managers, and it felt like a similar story. I'm still not completely sure he's cracked it, but they're 2 points off fourth, I think it is, or maybe even third, a point behind fourth. They played Arsenal, Chelsea, City and Liverpool. They beaten Chelsea and Liverpool. Maybe we're unlucky not to get a point at least against Arsenal. Soundly beaten by Manchester City.
A bit lucky against Chelsea, to be honest.
I knew that was coming.
He got sent off in 4 minutes and completely.
Let's not go down that route. We're not talking about Chelsea. Sorry, especially with this delay. Sorry, carry on, Jamie.
Yeah, so I was just laying out the fixtures they've got until the next sort of, say, top 4, top 6 contender, which is City again, January the 17th. So they've got a good run of fixtures now. It's interesting, Andy Goldstein's comment there in the clip, sort of saying until the system changes, we, obviously because he's a United fan, aren't going to get anywhere. I mean, I kind of know what he means, and I'm still not saying this system is amazing, but maybe this is what, Amorim's been talking about. He needed time, faith, the right players. But I just look at that midfield, for example, yes, it's creaky. Casemiro's played really well, don't get me wrong, but he tends to take him off 60 or 70 minutes into a match. And then it's like Ugarte, he doesn't really trust, and Mainoo can't get anywhere near it. But maybe what we will see is an evolution of what I'm discussing. Maybe Mainoo will start to get a game more. He'll start to sort of, get hold of Amorim's ideas. Amorim will start to fancy him, former England midfielder. Things like this may grow and develop. So, yeah, he's definitely, 5 matches unbeaten in the Premier League now is obviously his best run. And, yeah, listen, it's the sort of run Manchester United, if they're anywhere near what they should be, pretend to want to be, sort of pretensions of being again, this is what you need to be, tough to beat, basically. But I still feel the midfield... Yeah, they can't control games, as in the sort of game at Spurs. So it's still a work in progress. But yeah, he's got to a year, and I would now say he's probably safe until after Christmas at least, even if they sort of lose the next 3, because he has had this run.
No, I think he'd be all right. And it's the process. They need to support him. They need to buy what he needs. And you could see with Jason Wilcox, I think he's a good operator, and I think they realise what they need, and it's going to take time. It was never going to be an overnight fix.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because, you know what it's like in football. He came in, he said he needed time, or it was accepted he needed time. But as soon as you get 2 or 3 bad results, I think Sam Matterface, another on your clips there, said, 5 defeats in December, obviously last December, it feels hopeless. And that kind of, nothing against Sam, he's kind of right in a way, because, you have 5 defeats in December, it does feel hopeless, even though the guy had only been in about a month and a half by then. So there's time, and then there's time in football, isn't there, if you understand what I mean? You have to sort of earn the time, and I think he has earned the time now. Yeah, I mean, just I've been round this sort of block so many times with post-Ferguson managers. I'm still waiting to see if they do support him, as you sort of say there in January, maybe with a cute loan deal for, I don't know, maybe Conor Gallagher, for example, at central midfield, just to add those legs I was talking about. Because I don't think they've got money for a permanent buy, but they have got money to sort of, pay for a loan, the wages, whatever it be, the sort of small fee maybe. And then, yeah, let's see. I mean, it is help. I think, he said that actually maybe it'd be a good thing them not being in Europe this season after losing the Europa League final. And, he had to then sort of back that up with a few decent results and a pattern of play. And, yeah, maybe we are seeing that. But I still look at them and think, and, he accepts this. They are miles off, say, Arsenal or Manchester City. Yeah. But you look at the sort of, the teams below, I think they've got a fighting chance of top 4. Mm-hmm.
What has he learnt personally, you think? He's been very upfront, probably too emotional at times. And then we had that thing where he said, sometimes I hate my players, sometimes I don't want to be here. Do you think he's getting a bit more guarded in what he says? Have you seen a development in him personally?
It's a really good question. I'm not too sure I've seen a development, but maybe the test will come when, he's under pressure again and they have like a stinker of a defeat, like say at Grimsby, for example, which I think is it was the Friday after that game. So that'll be the test of whether he's become a little bit cuter. But actually, one thing I was going to say, a year in, the thing that's impressed me the most, right, is no matter how dark it has been, sort of, pessimistic, really bad defeats, humiliating defeats, all the rest of it, he still hasn't changed in the way he is. He's a very sort of bubbly gentleman. Obviously he gets down when they lose, of course he should, but it's not like he becomes bitter or a bit sort of antagonistic. That's just not his style, and I think that's pretty impressive. And the reason why I mention it as well is I think if you're a top player and you've got this guy who's, of course he doesn't like to lose, don't get me wrong, but he's basically the same sort of man coming back at you, level sort of personality. Even though he's emotional, what I'm saying is consistent the way he is. I think that's a boon for him in terms of man management. So I'd say that's a feather in his cap, because people like me are all too quick to ask sort of like difficult questions when it gets awkward. And so far he's fielded them with a lot of grace and sort of charm.
So Jim Ratcliffe has said that he'll be there in 2 years' time. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Look, the thing is, what would be the point of getting rid of him? Who else could come in with that squad and the way it is now and do any better? I'm not sure anybody could really.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing to say about that is that comment of Ratcliffe's is, the Glazers still do have a big say in who the sort of head coach is. But you are right, you're completely right. And actually, if you look back at all the post-Ferguson managers, maybe it's not been enough time, but I think they've had at least 2 years. I think Van Gaal got 2 years, maybe Mourinho 2.5, Solskjaer probably the longest, Ten Hag just over 2. So they do tend to get at least 2 full seasons. But yeah, I mean, maybe Ratcliffe, when it comes to a crisis point, we'll back that up, because someone has to crack it at United. They have the resources. They spent all that money in the summer, as they did with Ten Hag last summer. Then they sort of offed him when they probably should have done around about the FA Cup final that he ended up winning. So they do spend money. So someone has to get it right. And maybe this combination of sort of Berard as the chief executive, Wilcox director of football, and Amorim as the head coach. The sort of like trio that will crack it. Someone has to, and I do give Amorim a chance. Sorry. The reason why I'm a little bit circumspect is because of what I keep on saying. I have seen this a lot of times there, and it's come back to kick me in the teeth. So really thinking that a guy's going to, I thought Solskjaer was the answer, and that it didn't work. So, but I think the fact that he's back this free at the back, however you want to describe it, and he's done it in a sort of way which has been charming, but I'm going to do this is my way. I think that's probably helping him now, because the players say, okay, this guy, he has faith in his system. We should do it, and sort of try and sort of support it as much as possible. So, I mean, I'm saying all this, they might lose 5-0 to Everton.
This keeper's an upgrade as well.
Yeah, definitely. Jamie, always a pleasure. And here's to another year with Ruben Amorim, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Jamie Jackson there, the Manchester correspondent at The Guardian. One of the listeners makes the point. We were talking about the tickets for Siegfried, the Wagner opera, being 450 quid. Jason from Huddersfield. And that was it Mickey Hounslow? He gave us Mickey Hounslow one as well. A few people had this.
He loves the opera, Mickey.
Oh, he does. Mickey Hounslow, he's always there.
Yeah.
But I suppose the ultimate one was a tenner for a tenner, one of the listeners said. Mick said, yeah, surely the tickets, the opera should be a tenner.
Yeah.
And Jason from Huddersfield, Andy missed the gag there. Surely a tenner is plenty, not 20. It doesn't rhyme.
Well,
why did you never become a professional footballer, we're asking you this afternoon, because 30% of men feel they could have made it if they had more support and a little bit more luck. I would have definitely gone pro as a footballer, but I ruptured my ACL when I was 31, and that was the end of the dream, says Lee, the deluded Liverpool fan.
That's very good.
I was about to sign for Colchester in the 70s on the Monday. Sunday evening, I had terrible pain in my side, went to the hospital, found I had a grumbling appendix. I told the doctor, well, I'm signing a professional football contract tomorrow. He said, OK, do you want to be a dead goalkeeper or an alive person? So I take it as he sent that, he went for the latter. But keep telling us why you didn't quite make a professional footballer. And we didn't ask for any opera football-related puns, did we? Who sent one of those in? I think we've already had. I can't find it. Anyway, we've had a few of those. Don Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Yeah. There's nowhere to go after that.
No, forget
talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J 037172233.
CEO Paul Barber of Seville.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
We've exhausted it. Yeah, Bakayo Scala, one of the listeners came up with. There he is, Pete in Edinburgh. Thank you. That'll do. Anyway, yes, Julian Nagelsmann, the German national team coach, had some interesting stuff to say about Florian Wirtz and his difficulty adjusting to life in the Premier League. We'll run that past you and hear from our German football correspondent, Kevin Hatchard, shortly.